First actual uh, fighter plane that we flew in the World War II. Now I flew the P-40, but I didn't fly it in combat in World War II. P-39 was the one that I flew, and the P-39 was different than most of the fighter planes. And by the way, they were called them P because P stood for pursuit instead of F for fighter. And the engine in the P-39 was behind the pilot. And they did that because it had a 37 millimeter cannon that fired through the hub in the propeller. Well, when you have firearms and whatnot, you have to get some training in using them. You don't just get them and start shooting. So this day, it was a Sunday that we went up to Lake St. Clair or Lake Huron. I don't remember the lake that they went to, and we took aim on objects on the shores of the lake. On my way back, I was flying about 5,000 feet, and the engine quit. I want to back up somewhat to tell you this. They weren't training pilots, even whites. They weren't even training them in the Army Air Corps because we weren't at war at that time. So what they did was they said, well, we'll train them in colleges and universities. Hampton was one of the schools where we trained, and we trained in a Piper Cub. Two young ladies trained. I'm talking about 1940 trained, and the instructor, who was a civilian, every time we walked out there to the field to take training, would say, "Keep airspeed, keep airspeed, keep airspeed." We got tired of hearing it. We didn't want to hear it anymore. So we go up and come on back down. Well, when that P-39's engine quit, what do you think I kept?
Parachute.
Airspeed. That's what airspeed.
Right.
And I didn't even think twice. It came back to me, keep airspeed. So there were two trees here. It's a place of Yale, Michigan. You would know where it is. There was two trees here in a house. Well, I'm not going to hit the house. So these two trees, I went between them, split them, went right between them, sheared the wings off. The whole population of Yale came out to see what was going on. I think about 100 people. And I had my flying suit on, I had my oxygen mask, I had my goggles, I had my parachute, and they asked me, "Were you flying that?" I said, "No, no." I said, "Go look in it, you might find a gremlin in there." He was flying it. And so I went to one of the people's house, and that young lady was a reporter for the little paper they had. So she asked me, could she interview me? I said, sure. So she said, among other things, she said, what did you do when you were, growing up? I said, I went to school like anybody else. And when I told them I had finished high school, they didn't believe it. And then when I told them I had my college degree, oh no, no, you didn't. And then they asked me, he says, did you pick cotton down in Kentucky? I said, what do they teach up here in Michigan? Now, the South's supposed to be so dumb, but come up here, what do they teach up here in Michigan? They don't grow cotton in Kentucky. They grow pretty horses and fast women. And the upshot of the thing was that I asked him, could I use the phone to call the base and tell the commanding officer that, I had an accident. First thing he asked me was, did you damage the plane? I said, no, I didn't damage the plane. You sent somebody up here to fly it off. I mean, his name was Selway. Nobody liked him. I mean, he was white, of course. And so I used the phone, and I didn't go over with the group. They were over in December of 1943. I didn't go until spring as a replacement because I went to the hospital for one thing, and I had to recover from surgery that I had. So I got overseas, and I get this letter from them. I don't know how they got my address, but I got this letter from them. Says Lieutenant, you didn't pay the phone bill that you used the phone. I said, no, don't they have that nerve? I didn't pay the phone. I think it was something like $1.75 or something like that. Well, I sent them the money, and I had a little message along with it. I won't. I won't go into what the message was, but anyway, I said, boy, that was something else. And when we came up from Tuskegee to join the group, there's another fellow by the name of Carr. We met in Detroit, and we didn't even go out to the base until our money ran out, which didn't take long. We were down in the valley, and Detroit was really, I mean, they were hopping when we came in. And now we had to get to the base, so I had an uncle and an aunt that lived in Detroit, and I called him, could he come and get me and take me to the base? And he came, took both of us to the base, and nobody said anything. We just walked up the base and joined the group. That's how it was. But by the way, we didn't have officers. Of course, they were regular officers. Had houses to stay in. But there were so many of us that were officers that they didn't have enough houses for us, so they put us in barracks, just like the ordinary enlisted men. But that was okay too. I mean, and another thing I want to talk about is shooting. The sidearm was the Colt 45. I don't know whether you're acquainted with the Colt 45. I wasn't until they sent. I mean, they issued it to me. So then, of course, as I said, if you have a firearm, you have to learn how to use it. So this was in November and early December. We had to go to the firing range and shoot at these targets. And the guy that was in charge would say, aim and shoot at the vulnerable spot. I said, man, just let me hit the target, man. I mean, hit the vulnerable spot. And I knew if I failed the test, that wasn't going to keep me from going overseas. So I said, I'll tell you what you do. I said, you put the lowest thing on there that I didn't pass. And he said, okay. He said, I'll do that. I went on back to the barrack, got in the bed, went to sleep. So when the time came for me to go overseas, I went overseas because I wouldn't be fined 45 in the first place. It was something else. One thing that helped win the war, I'll put this in. We were with the 12th Air Force at first, and we were flying the P-39. I told you about the engine quit on it. But we got the P-47, with 12th Air Force. It was, they called it the Thunderbolt. It was, had radial engines. That the cylinders were in circles. Two banks of 8 cylinders had 18 cylinders in it. 18. The P-39 had 12 cylinders.
Okay.
P-51 had 12 cylinders. The P-47 had 18. and it was, they called it the Thunderbolt. It was designed for high altitude. The P-39, if it got to 20,000 feet, it was you were really up there. But the P-47 could go 45,000 feet. And people ask me now, which plane did you prefer flying? I said, depending on what you're doing. If you're in a fight, give me the P-47. Had 8 50 caliber machine guns on it. You didn't even have to use the gun sight. You got it on the tail of a Messerschmitt and start shooting. The cone of fire was so far that you're bound to hit him. And if you hit the cylinders in a plane like P-51, P-39, like the engine in your car, and if you hit the cylinder there, it's going to stop, and you better get out. Where